Alright guys, what are we talking about today? Today, I have a Spyderco Military in 204p, if it will ever focus. There we go. Steel by Carpenter. It is an analog of 20CV and M390. 204p is a hair different, but it's close enough. It's considered an analog. Thank you to Josh for sending this along for me to test. I have 5 other knives of his. You guys will be seeing all those real soon. A couple of them right in a row with this one. So I have tested some ZT 204p and some Taichung Taiwan Spyderco 204p. Isn't a lot of this floating around out there really. I know there is some in some Microtech, some older ZTs, obviously a little bit of Spyderco. So there isn't a ton of it for me to test, so I am happy when I do get another example to try out. And since I have done 2 of the bento box dominoes in 204p, figure this would be a good way to see how Golden stacks up to them. And one of those dominoes is with Kurt right now, and we will be getting a hardness on that before too long. And in a future video, when I talk about M390, 204p, 20CV, and I know I've been talking about it for a while, but I am almost finished with that video finally, so it will be coming. So I will talk about the hardness of that, and this will also be getting tested, so be able to find out the performance of this versus what the actual hardness was. So I did speed up the cutting quite a bit. I believe it's only about 1.5 minutes, maybe 1:15 if you want to speed past it. Go ahead and do that now, and then we'll come back and talk about this. Alright, so now that we watched that sped up cutting, we'll go ahead and talk about the sharpening, how it came up, and what the test results were. So Josh had told me that you can tell there are some scratches in that on the blade, that he had been using this. I believe he said he had sharpened it once, maybe twice, just to be sure. I did go ahead and put 2 edges on this. This is at 15 degrees per side, like the other ones I've done. And same way, 1500 grit, stropped on 6, 3, then 1 micron, 5 passes per side on each. And I went ahead and tested it. So on what I believe to be the 3rd edge, for fine edge, I got 171 feet. And working edge, another 86 feet for a total of, and I'm just hitting the camera and everything, for a total of 257 feet on that first test. Now, after that one, I had a feeling there was more in it, only because this came up so nice and sharpening. It was super easy to deburr, and it would, I mean, right off the strap, it was easy to whittle hair with it. It just came up really good compared to some of the other ones I've done. So we went ahead and sharpened it again, same way, same everything. And what I believe to be the fourth edge, or we'll just call it the fourth edge, 179 feet fine edge. Another 93 feet working edge for a total of 270 feet. So now we're getting up there a little bit. This compares, if you go back and look on the spreadsheet that's down in the description, you can look up the Catra M390 PM2, and it did pretty close to what this did. Went ahead and sharpened it, edge 5, and I tested it again just to make sure that it didn't have anything else in it that I was missing. And on that one, got 172 feet fine edge, another 105 feet for working edge, for a total of 277 feet in a 1-inch section. Now, I didn't count every single one on the spreadsheet. I went by memory for what I know did what. So I'm not going to put a solid position on this, but I believe this is inside the top 10 for any M390 20CV 204P. I'm going to guess it is in the low 60 range for hardness, maybe 60. Go ahead and say 60.3. And I'm also basing that off of, and yeah, it does happen to match. This is my Bento Box PM2 that I tested, the one that is 62. And it has the KnifeWorks 204P scales on it that I rounded the edges on pretty heavily to make it much more comfortable. So what I know that the 62 hardness M390 did, and what the 60.1 Catra M390 did, that's what leads me to believe this is going to be a 60.3, maybe 60.5, but I'm guessing it's going to be a solid 60. Would I have loved to see better out of it? Absolutely. Looking at all the other analogs of this steel and where it falls out of the total number of those steels from different manufacturers with different heat treats that I've tested, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this 204P. I'd be perfectly happy to use it. I'm real happy with crew wear at 62, and it does not cut as long as this 204P does in a 1-inch section. So hopefully I'll have some more 204P coming soon. Not positive. I'm working on it. I do have a fair amount of 20CV coming, and also some more M390. I don't know how many of you have seen it on my Instagram, but I do have this, and I don't know if it's going to focus. It's not liking me today. There we go. M390 SOCOM Elite And might as well go ahead and break it out because you guys are going to see it in the next 3 or 4 days anyway. TRM Atom in 20 CV. So 3 more to add to the spreadsheet. This was the Spyderco Military in 204p. That was how it did. If you guys have any questions, anything you want to talk about, leave it down below. If you do have some 204p that you would be willing to send in for testing, I'd love to be able to get it and test it. Otherwise, that's it. That's all I have for this one. As always, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.